11 p.m. Vegas time. Romero walks the halls of the MGM Grand. It's pre-fight business. Business as usual for Yoel. The entire card of fighters for UFC 213 have left their respective camps from around the world and arrived in the Vegas desert. And at 195 pounds, Yoel Romero looks to stay polished and complete the necessary final weight cut before the event. The entire Romero team is all in Vegas, and they each individually prepare for the hours of work leading up to the fight. 110 degrees outside in the morning, 122 degrees at midday. For most, the air-conditioned MGM is a respite. But for the athletes, the UFC-designated training room is heated to 100 degrees for late-night, weight-cut training sessions. Romero stretches, loosens up before he begins going round for round, grappling, boxing, striking, and jiu-jitsu, continuously swapping partners so that Romero's work is 10 rounds, non-stop. A serene mix of meditation and training, a samurai's love for the sport, the mental focus, and the preparation. 48 hours to the weigh-in. Romero is 195 pounds. His target, 185. This is water weight, but regardless, it is weight that must be lost. The usual jovial man is in high spirits, but he appears more on edge than normal. He says he's not nervous. He's been on the world stage all his life. But it is fight week, and fight week means limited eating, limited consumption of fluids, and these limitations, and the constant calorie burn, always put him on edge. He is slightly behind his target goal for today. He will have to work out in the morning as well. This usually leaves fighters in a weakened state. While his trainers are focused on the preparations, in the back of Romero's mind was a thought, a possibility, an opportunity to return to Cuba after the fight, the country he defected from, and visit with his family, which he hadn't seen in 10 years. But first, he needed to attend to Whittaker.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the interim middleweight title, introducing Robert Whittaker.
The official weigh-in on Friday morning occurred in the privacy of the MGM Grand. 4 hours later, the fighters and their teams made their way to the Monte Carlo for the pomp and circumstance of the public weigh-in.
And his opponent, Yoel Romero.
It was held across from T-Mobile Arena, the home of the fight, and to a throng of fans. Whittaker looked poised, and upon taking the scale, assumed the classic double biceps pose. Romero walked on stage and revealed the physique that has captured all of social media's attention. With a salute to the crowd, the fighters shook hands and posed for the cameras. Romero taking an unarmed stance, and Whittaker showing his slight height advantage. The main card for the event, Amanda Nunes, Valentina Shevchenko, both looked to be in fantastic condition, both in their MGM pre-fight training and at the weigh-in. While sitting poolside early morning on fight day, a huge buzz spread through the crowd as rumor had it that Nunes had pulled out of the main event. Dana White and the UFC were all in full triage mode. And for Romero and Whittaker, they were suddenly thrust into the main event, with all the accoutrements that are associated with it. And with that said, UFC 213 for Romero was a heartbreaker.
No, it's not possible not think about the fight. I think a lot about what happened in the fight. I have a conversation, a meeting with my team about thinking about what happened in the fight, why we lose it. Llegamos a un acuerdo entre todos de por qué fue que se perdió.
Winning rounds 1 and 2, Romero lost round 3. Ultimately, round 4, Romero and Whittaker were even to the last minute. A Romero slip gave Whittaker an advantage, and he took it to the final decision. Whittaker won on all cards, 48-47, and led in significant strikes, though Romero won 4-0 on takedowns. Romero was gracious in accepting the decision. He congratulated Whittaker. He announced his intentions with Joe Rogan in the octagon. Never give up. But the Michael Bisping thorn was ever present. Romero has a real, visceral dislike for Bisping. It goes far beyond the UFC promotional theatrics. It is fed by Bisping's trashing of the Cuban flag, slandering Romero's name for steroid abuse, for which Romero has been completely exonerated, and taunting Romero's family and trainers ringside at the fight.
You know, this man, Mr. Bisping, this guy is just too much fresh. He no have idea what it is de un comportamiento como atleta. Él está cruzando líneas. Y una cosa, por lo menos en mi país, peleamos, nos respetamos. Eso es como un juego de ajedrez, es un simple deporte. Mira, por ejemplo, con Whittaker peleamos duro, peleamos a arrancarnos la cabeza literalmente. Se terminó la pelea y nos dimos la mano y buen trabajo, nos felicitamos uno al otro. Bueno, tú Whittaker ganaste, felicitaciones, y ya, todo quedó ahí. Pero ya coger la bandera de mi país, romperla, sentarse detrás de mí en mi propia esquina, a la hora de pelear, romper mi bandera, tirármela mientras que yo esté peleando. Eso es una gran falta de respeto. Discutiendo con mis entrenadores. Mientras que yo estaba peleando, él estaba discutiendo con ellos. Mi hija de 7 años me dice, no, Michael Bisping se acercó a mí y me empezó a pintar gracias y jarana, ¿entiendes? Y esto a mi hija no le agradó porque mi hija no quería saludarlo y él seguía. Y esto me ha molestado mucho. Ya esto es, si lo quiere personal, ya es personal. Creo que si esto llegaría a suceder, llegaría a pasar, me sentiría muy bien conmigo mismo, pudiéndole meter las manos por la boca para adentro a Mr. Bisping.
What future UFC challenges await is unknown for Yoel. as Bisping revels in his avoidance of Romero and prepares to fight GSP in his next fight. The soldier of God will honor the words he spoke in defeat and continue the quest for world glory, the quest he started when he was just an 8-year-old boy in Cuba. But who will be his next challenger? We do not know, and perhaps the only man who has the power to make that decision, Dana White, has not yet decided. What we do know is that Romero will stay close with his family, his friends, his advisors. But as he waits, he will use his time wisely and risk his freedom to visit a homeland that holds a young man, an 11-year-old boy who hasn't been held in his father's arms for nearly 10 years. Next, when 6 Weeks returns with a Cuban episode.